You know that stuff from the movies, right? The Black Goo? It's pure cosmic horror, promising creation one minute and just complete annihilation the next. It's an absolute icon. But what if I told you that this stuff, this fictional nightmare fuel, actually has a counterpart in real-world physics? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're using this monster as our guide to explore some of the strangest and, frankly, most terrifying truths our universe has to offer. Okay, get a load of this. It sounds like something straight out of a mad scientist's notebook, doesn't it? I mean, a temporary, coherent topological defect? That's some serious nightmare fuel. But here's the kicker. This isn't from a horror movie. This is from a real, honest-to-God physics paper about life, about us. And stick with me, because by the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly what it feels like to be one. All right, Chapter 1. Our story doesn't start on some far-off, scary planet. Nope. It starts right here, right now, in the empty space that's literally all around you. Because according to quantum physics, that vacuum, it's not empty, not even close. It is its own kind of primordial universe-spanning goo. So yeah, this just completely flips our whole idea of nothing on its head. See, quantum field theory says the vacuum is this chaotic sea of energy, a bubbling, turbulent superfluid where tiny virtual particles are just popping in and out of existence all the time. It's this massive reservoir of just unstable potential. And that's why the black goo in a jar is such a perfect metaphor, right? It's just sitting there, totally inert, waiting for something to come along and give it a shape, to tell it what to become. So, what happens when this universal goo finally finds a container? Something like, I don't know, a living thing? Well, this is it. This is the first touch, the moment of infection. It's where this high-energy field makes contact, and what happens next is all thanks to a really bizarre quantum effect called strong coupling. Okay, to really get what's happening, you have to meet the polariton. This thing is a true quantum hybrid, a total chimera. Imagine a field like our goo and a particle of matter getting so close, so intensely connected that they just stop being separate things. They literally fuse into one new entity that's both field and matter. So you see, the goo doesn't just poison its victim, it becomes the victim. They forge this unholy union at the deepest possible level. And this is absolutely the key thing to get. The goo isn't like a venom or a poison, it's a field, and it forces a fundamental change in the host's quantum state. The second it makes contact, boom, that strong coupling kicks in. It just hijacks the host's entire molecular structure and starts rewriting it from the ground up. The original organism is trapped. It's not just it anymore. It's now part of this horrifying new hybrid. But here's where it gets even more twisted. All this chaotic energy, it's not just random mindless destruction. Oh no, it's following a blueprint. The goo is an architect, you see, and it builds its nightmares using two of the most fundamental forces in the universe, tension and chaos. So let's zoom way, way out for a second to a cosmic scale. Deep inside the boiling plasma of our own sun, these things called flux ropes just appear out of nowhere. You can think of them like stable lines of pure tension that manage to create order out of all that chaos. It's literally a way to build something solid out of pure, wild energy. Okay, now let's zoom all the way down. I mean, way, way down. Inside the protons and neutrons that make up, well, you, the same exact thing is happening. These little flux tubes are threads of tension holding quarks together, and that's what gives matter its structure. So from the heart of a star to the tiniest piece of an atom, the rule is the same. Organized tension carves stable shapes out of chaos. And that is exactly how the goo works. It starts generating these massive flux ropes inside the host's body. These things become a kind of high-tension skeleton, a brand new architecture made of pure field energy. And this new scaffolding channels all that chaos, forcing the soft biological tissue to reshape itself into a new, absolutely terrifying and brutally efficient form. So what's this blueprint made of? It's something physicists call a topological defect. The easiest way to think about it is like a knot in a rope or a permanent wrinkle in fabric. It's a flaw in the very structure of something that you just can't smooth out. It's fundamental. And the goo engineers these permanent flaws into the host's body, creating a template that the new creature is forced to build itself around. The monster is literally built on a foundation of perfected, weaponized error. Okay, so now we get to the climax of the story, the transformation itself. The melting, the dissolving, all that pure body horror. But what you're seeing isn't just biology going haywire. It is the macroscopic, visible result of a catastrophic failure of quantum order. See, a living being like you is an incredibly ordered system. On a quantum level, you're coherent. All your bits are working together in a stable way. The goo, it just shatters that. It attacks the organism's coherence time. That's the tiny window that its quantum state can hold itself together. And it reduces it to basically zero. The host just dissolves from one coherent whole into a chaotic mess of possibilities. So that horrifying melting and twisting you see on screen, that is a pretty good approximation of what the collapse of your own body's quantum state would actually look like.
And this whole collapse happens fast, terrifyingly fast. The instant you're exposed, your quantum coherence is gone. Kaput! Within 60 seconds, your body's structural integrity is dissolving from the inside out. Over the next hour, all that chaos gets harnessed, and your matter is violently reassembled around that new, high-tension skeleton. And then, a new, stable, monstrous form emerges with its own brand of terrible coherence.
Now, this sounds like a one-way ticket to Monster Town, right? No coming back. But this is where an even stranger, almost tragic piece of quantum physics comes into play. What if the system could fight back, even for just a second? Well, the answer, unbelievably, might be yes, because of a bizarre quantum property where the environment itself has a memory. It's not just a one-way street toward decay. The universe around the host can actually remember its original coherent state and feed that information back into the system. And this can cause what physicists call revivals, a brief, temporary return to the original form. Just imagine the horror of that. As you're being twisted into something monstrous, for one fleeting, lucid moment, the universe remembers who you were and pulls you back, right before you're dragged away again, this time for good. So, we've seen how this thing is built. But the big question remains, why? What is it for? The final, chilling answer doesn't come from biology. It comes from the coldest, most absolute law in all of physics, thermodynamics. Okay, just look at this comparison. A human, you and me, we're basically a little island of order in a chaotic sea. We fight against entropy, against decay our whole lives. We maintain order. The xenomorph, on the other hand, it's the exact opposite. It's a machine that's perfectly optimized for one single purpose: to accelerate the universe's collapse into total disorder. It's a hyper-efficient engine for turning ordered life into chaos, heat, and more engines of chaos. From a cold, hard physics perspective, its purpose is actually perfect. It's more in line with where the universe is heading than we are. And that brings us to the final, really unsettling thought. Remember where we started? The definition of life as a temporary, coherent topological defect. Well, if the universe is fundamentally driven to create things that are better and better at creating disorder, at maximizing entropy, then you have to ask yourself, was a predator as perfect as the xenomorph just some random idea cooked up for a movie? Or is it something else? Is it a logical, terrifying, and maybe, just maybe, an inevitable consequence of the laws of physics themselves?